So what does a perfect day look like to you? I'm not sure if you've ever asked yourself that, but is it a day where you sleep in? Maybe it's a day where you wake up early. Is it a day where you work? Is it a day where you're super lazy? And when you're going about asking yourself this question, you really need to keep in context that this perfect day would theoretically be one that you would want to live for the rest of your life. So you might be inclined to jump to, oh, bro, if I didn't have to work, that'd be the perfect day. I don't have to work. I don't have anything going on. Sure, that might be what first pops up in your mind, but think about it. If you think about those long extended periods of time, maybe where you have an injury or you're sick or even on certain boring vacations, think about, do you really like that state where you have nothing at all on your agenda? Would you want to live that for the rest of your life? I know I wouldn't. So my name is Liam. If you don't know me, I make a lot of videos on philosophy, really, of life, and I just talk about what I do and what I've learned from it. In this video, I'm just going to outline what I think my perfect day would be, and maybe you can pull from this, and maybe this changes your view of what you'd want to do really long term, and hopefully you can actually create that for yourself and live a fulfilling life. So what I've learned is that the most fulfilling days have a few different things in common. Firstly, I always have to get up and work out, and it doesn't necessarily have to be early, but it's more about how I wake up that matters. So for my perfect day, I need to roll right out of bed. That initial period where it's very tempting to go on your phone, go on Instagram, go on TikTok, and sit there for easily 30 minutes, it's very tempting to do that, but that ruins my brain personally for the rest of the day, and I hate that. My brain's just littered with, I want to go on my phone. So I think when you wake up and you have that initial 30 minutes to an hour, that time period is crucial because you're priming your brain for the rest of the day. So for me, I need to start with something that's active. Even if I'm not doing a crazy workout, I need to perhaps go for a walk, maybe go for a run. And I especially like sweating in that period. So I've gotten addicted to just the sweat because it's a really big physical release. And once I get done, I feel much more relaxed, but I also feel much more awake at the same time. So my perfect day always starts with a workout. I could do that every day for the rest of my life. Then, once I get back home, what I do is I come home and I make my breakfast. I just make eggs, and then I have a black coffee. Then I go and grab a book. So I've begun this ritual for about a year or so. Not only has it allowed me to accumulate a lot of knowledge in a short amount of time, but it's also become one of my favorite morning rituals. So reading books. I was not a reader at all prior to a year and a half ago-ish now. And I just wanted to get into reading so that I could be smarter. I wanted to speak better. And it's become something that I thoroughly enjoy. Just organically it happens. I pick up books all the time now. But what's really cool is you go to the gym, you work out physically, and that helps your brain. And then you come home, have a coffee. Again, there's some nootropic effects with coffee. Great. Then you open a book and it becomes a mental workout. And mornings, I'm not very good at working at night. And it kind of goes back to the priming thing. So when I first get up, I'm priming my brain for the day. So if I put off some creative work that I need to do, for instance, make a good video, and I wait till nighttime to do it, then my brain has already been primed, and it doesn't work well for me. I'm really good at working in the morning. It's just undeniably how my brain works. So if I start work, I always read first and then get into work, which I like doing. I like getting in a long flow state, typically until 12 or 1 p.m. And as for when I get up, it's usually at about 5. It just works really well, sets you up for the day, and that time slot can be used even when you have work, school, or obligations typically at around 8 or 9 a.m. It still allows me to work and read in the morning. So getting up at that same time every single day, it's really good to tune that in. So I'll typically get in a workflow till about 12 or 1 p.m. Then I eat lunch. And then after that, the day is kind of up in the air. It becomes a little more spontaneous after lunchtime. It's, okay, I've done a big chunk of work this morning and I can depend on that. But the rest of the day, I'm a little bit less disciplined intentionally. So in the afternoon during my perfect day, I'd probably go for a walk. And let me add, I don't work a regular job anymore. I've got my own business now, and that's all I do. And luckily, I've found that if I'm going to be in business for myself, I really do minimizing the amount that I have to be doing quote unquote busy work for extended periods of time. So I'm not the type to be having to pick up phone calls all the time, answer text messages, whatever that is. I like to go really hard on work by myself, uninterrupted. So whether that's writing, filming, editing a video, I work really well that way. And that's where I need to be if I want to thrive. And so to get back on topic with the video, my perfect day has got me working till lunch. And then after lunch, the objective is that I had gotten done enough work to have the choice as to how I want to spend the afternoon or evening. So a lot of times, maybe I'll watch YouTube. Maybe I'll read a book. Maybe I'll go for a walk. Maybe I'll go for a bike ride. Maybe I'll write. Maybe I'll make a video like I'm doing right now. But I like to leave room for spontaneity just because that's where you create a new reality. Yes, habits are really important, but unfortunately, humans operate at 60 to 80% under habituation. Hopefully that's a word. I don't know. But we're literally operating under a program most of our life. And so if you want to actually create something new, you have to get out of that program. And you can rely on the program. It's helpful, but you do need to break free of it sometimes because that's where you actually create something unknown. And so the reason that a lot of people fall into getting more of what they've always got is because they're doing what they've always done. So I think leaving room in your day and in your schedule is important because you might go on a walk and have an idea that could make you millions of dollars. You could go on a walk and finally come to some revelation that you've been emotionally burdened with for months or years. You might go on a walk and meet someone that becomes a friend for life. And it's just, if you're too locked into a certain schedule, I don't like that. So I like having the beginning. Yes, there's work that inevitably needs to get done, but that's for the beginning of the day. That's where I operate most effectively. Second half of the day becomes, you could call it fun, but ideally your job is fun. If you pick the right job, it is fun. I like making workout programs. I like coaching people. I like checking in. I like making videos. I like teaching. I like doing all of this stuff. So now that I'm not in sales, this is literally my dream life. I could do this for the rest of my life. I'm serious. I go to jiu-jitsu. So basically that's kind of my social thing, which is not a problem at all. My ideal day when we get to the evening time is I go to jiu-jitsu because, to be honest, if I could work out 24/7 without having to recover, I probably would, because I just love, it's kind of a meditative state when you're sweating and when you're doing something, your mind's not running elsewhere. That's what I love about fitness, and I think that's what people find addicting about fitness, whether they realize it or not. It's the state of presence that you can acquire through fitness, through the pain of fitness. So I find that very addicting. So my evening has got jiu-jitsu in it. And then I eat dinner, go to sleep, repeat. I could do that every single day for the rest of my life. Super serious. And obviously things are going to change because my business is going to grow. My YouTube's going to grow. Everything's going to grow. There's going to come a point where I'm going to have more and more money and more opportunities. But I think these pillars that I've talked about in this video need to remain in my routine for me to have a fulfilling life. It's the gym, the morning workflow, and then space for spontaneity and unknown stuff to happen. That's what creates an exciting life. I think the schedule I've described is balanced. I think it's fun, and I think it's healthy. So perhaps this video gave you some things to take from my routine, and maybe it just gave you a reminder to analyze your own routine and perhaps get out of the known box that you're in. Maybe you're doing the same things all the time. Maybe you're waiting for the weekend and only looking forward to parties. That's not a good state to be in. Ask yourself honestly, is that what I'm doing? If so, try to just get back to the simple stuff. Funny enough, we always are looking for some complicated solution, but it always just goes back to the simple stuff. In the realm of fitness, this could be exemplified as to it's always the simple movements that we got to do. Squat, bench, deadlift are pretty much in almost any program in some variation. It's always the simple foods that are the most healthy. It's the simple lifestyle that's the most fulfilling. It's not some complicated routine that was created with AI using the newest technology. It always goes back to the simple stuff. So I'd say if your life is unfulfilling, throw in the simple stuff like working out, walking, running, journaling, reading, talking to people face to face, eating healthy food. It all goes back to the simple stuff. So if you like this video, consider subscribing. You don't have to, but you probably should. If you like the video, then you probably want to see stuff similar to it, right? Anyhow, have a nice day. Maybe have a perfect day. Who knows?